Well, hello and welcome back to the Backyard Tabletop. My name is Jacob here today with my good friend...
Kurtis.
Kurtis. That's him.
That's me.
Thank you so much for joining us on our little podcast we have back here in the backyard. We really appreciate you being here. Kurtis, I appreciate you being here as well.
I'm not in my backyard. Am I supposed to be in my backyard?
I think it's supposed to be a metaphoric backyard because we can't really encompass everyone's backyard. We encompass everyone's backyard in the feeling, not necessarily the location. I think it would be a little bit odd if we showed up in someone's backyard, unless that could be really exciting.
I mean, yeah, sure, it'd be great. You know, like that thing where people say, like, you have a mind palace.
Yes,
and it's where you live when you're in your head. We're in your mind palace's backyard. So we're like outside of your mind palace, just kind of hanging out back here.
What 100%? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're just in the back of everyone's mind. It's like the moments where you're kind of like where you start hearing, we feel like you hear voices. It's just us.
Yeah, we're just creeping in.
Oh man, if this is your first time joining us, Kurtis and I We like to talk about.
Kurtis and I locked 6 people in this room.
I feel like
the first one to get out gets $1 million.
I feel like at this point, people are going to start thinking that this is just a bit. That like I always mess up on that line or just flub over something. Oh
Mr.
man,
Beast over here.
Kurtis and I like to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, specifically about the games that we are both in. We're in 2 different games, but we are best friends that like to catch each other up on our comings and goings in the Pathfinder universe. We have a wonderful dungeon master who takes us through Pathfinder adventures. He converts them to 5th edition, and we jump on that bandwagon pretty dang quick.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff.
Pathfinder has some really great adventure paths.
Really great stories.
Yeah, so Kurtis's group is currently going through Curse of the Crimson Throne, and my group is currently going through Reign of Winter, which is a Baba Yaga-themed one. So we've been kind of on my side of the story, so today we are going to be getting to Kurtis's story, but I wanted to ask Kurtis a question today.
Me?
Yeah, specifically you.
Okay.
One of these days, I'm going to surprise you and just be like, "No, I actually, could you get Joel in here?" Like, I just
got a question.
Kurtis, when you go to play characters in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, the ones that you actually, because we all know all of us have 100 characters on D&D Beyond or whatever. But when you actually go to play these characters, you know for sure you're going to play this one. What is a similar characteristic that you have on all of them? Or if you even do have one?
Oh, that's interesting.
I feel like, and the reason why I asked this is because I feel like a lot of us will have a little bit of ourselves in each character.
Yeah.
And it can be a few different ones kind of cranked up, but I feel like, I don't know, this is just me. Anytime I go to watch a game or when someone brings a backstory to me, it really is interesting to see a theme of characteristics.
Now, this could be a dangerous question because, like you said, we always bring a little bit of something of ourselves to the character. And if there's something that each of your characters has that's kind of a negative trait,
it can
because you have that.
Yeah. It's kind of fun because even if it is a negative trait, I think it's kind of fun to bring negative characteristics to your character.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a very interesting question. So the 2 characters I've played in these really long-term campaigns, have all been pretty cerebral. High in the wisdom, intelligence, charisma stats, high in the kind of mind,
the mental the mental stats.
Statistics, mental statistics. I mean, KO from my last campaign, he was a monk, but he was also a rogue. So he was really wise, dexterous, but still pretty smart. He wasn't charismatic as much. But I made him pretty smart on purpose because I was kind of like, I want him to be a little bit, he's wise, but he backs that up with knowledge, you know?
Yeah.
Cal is like completely opposite, where he's super intelligent but has no wisdom to back it up. So he just knows things and just assumes he knows what's right.
Okay. Doesn't really tend to have a humility to it.
Yeah, well, and it's not even the humility. It's like, it's just all logic. He's just like, well, this is what I know is true, so...
There we go.
Why even argue? Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. So, yeah, I think probably all the characters that I've played a lot have all been, like, the face, even when I didn't want them to be.
KO kind of was, huh? Yeah.
KO for sure was, and I didn't plan on him being the face, which is why he had low charisma. But I think the main reason for KO being the face was just we were in a group of people who hadn't played much.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was the one who was always conversing with NPCs first because I would have to initiate things,
Yeah.
We both did in that game.
But we both had pretty games, abysmal charisma. Yeah.
Like even with gosh, who else?
Cormac was
Cormac was for sure the face, but that was completely intentional. Cormac was a warlock gunslinger hybrid.
Yeah.
So he was fighter gunslinger, warlock, hexblade. Basically Percy, but
way older. He was like
way older.
That was like the oldest character you've played, huh? Except for maybe an elf or something. But
yeah, he was like
in his 60s or something.
50s or 60s. Yeah, he was an older gentleman.
I always applauded you for playing. I have a hard time playing older characters.
Yeah, that was fun. But that was kind of the same thing. Like I think that kind of tends to be my thing, and I think it's weird because I don't think of myself as like wanting to be the face. But I think it's just because I enjoy the role play so much that I'm like always wanting to talk and be involved.
Yeah. No.
And so
I feel like that's almost the dungeon master in me. Like the dungeon master in me does that. Where sometimes I do kind of have to hold myself back a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, no, and this was something I was going to ask you the question, so I started thinking about it. And this is interesting. I've had all my characters have had a very interesting view of adventuring, and it's always like they always have kind of like Sarah, my wife, kind of said it almost had a view of like worshiping adventuring to an extent. Like Ansel, the one that who was a character in the one where you were KO, had almost an idea that adventuring would be his redemption. Yeah. Right? Dara, my current character, has kind of like this almost like he puts adventuring on a pedestal. Like, I will never quite reach that, but I'm always going to strive for it. Right? Wanting to be this kind of legend, so to say, but never really having a party to do that with. And then I was kind of thinking about like Braz, which was a wizard when you ran.
Braz was like adventuring was his everything. Like,
yeah,
he didn't care about anything anymore. He just wanted to be out doing things.
100%. He had like this idea of like I want to create with adventuring. Like normal people can't do it, so I need to step into this role and protect the people. So that was kind of something that, like, just talking about it with Sarah too, she was kind of like, yeah, that was it. And it's like, so I was like, yeah, that's kind of been my like characteristic. Every character seems to have a very interesting view of what they think of adventuring itself, and I was like, huh.
That's interesting. What kind of patterns do you see in my characters?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Give me a second on this one. I think for me, the characteristic I see is I think the Kurtis I see is like I do see a little bit of the mid maxing in there, and using kind of multi-classing, but you do a very good job on like bridging the gap between the mid maxing and role play aspects. I think I think Sirius would be the one I would. It's very interesting because I don't know if I would necessarily like, because your one shot characters are very different. You know, when we played the Humblewood,
characters are off the wall.
Yeah, Humblewood character you did was like a very different character than normal. But when you go to sit down a long term, you do bring like a seriousness to each of your characters, and you are very. Each of your characters has been very set in their ways. I feel like it would be, I know you're a little bit like how the party reacts to me could change me, but you kind of come to the table with like, I know my character and he's pretty set in the direction that he's going.
I will say because of who I am and the way my brain works, I'm really bad at creating chaotic characters. Really, really bad. For me to like inhabit a character and really role play them and do it well for a long amount of time, it's very difficult for me to be chaotic in that mind space. Yeah. When I do shorter stuff like one shots and things like that, I can do it and it's fun for a little while, but I don't enjoy the growth as much. I will say I think that's one of the things I think one of the things that I definitely see as a pattern in my characters is this feeling of like, I know I'm starting here, but I kind of know where I want to grow to.
Okay.
I have and you know, what happens in the story will shift that a little bit. Like, you know, like I always have like a defined max level idea of what my character is going to look like at the end. And that's not to say that I don't let the story shape them. I absolutely do.
100%.
Which is what I mean. Like what I'll say is like, this is what I could become if my party does not affect me. Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like with Cal, it's literally like, Cal would literally be the guy who at 20th level turns into a lich.
Yeah.
For absolute sure. By the time he's that powerful and that far gone, he would definitely be a lich. Unless he's affected in a positive light by the people around him, which is what we always hope for. You know, we always hope to affect those around us in a positive way in the campaigns.
Which is, it's also really cool to see, like, to have that in your mind is kind of like if you have this kind of almost dark ending for your character, to have it end on a good note, it's kind of like almost a little bit like sweet. Like, oh man, I had this in mind, but the party did this to my character. Yeah. It's kind of like...
I think to sum that up, it's like, I always have like a hero's journey. With every character.
Yeah.
Every character has like is like really based on the hero's journey. Like they always start out in just a real bad spot. Like all my characters really just start out in a real bad spot. Like down on their luck and just getting back up to try and pull themselves out again, you know?
Yeah.
Like Cal was, you know, just getting off of a literal almost near death experience with overdosing.
Right.
With Karkad, it was like running for his life and now suddenly having a divine intervention in his life. With Cormac, it was like he's been fighting monsters and trying to keep this thing that he's made this pact with at bay.
Yeah.
And so he finally gets this opportunity to be with other people and grow and have something to have an excuse to sate this adventure. You know, I always try to make it so that it's like they're just coming out of their worst time in their life. kind of
No,
a thing.
that's great, and it's really kind of fun to see how you have that shaped. It's almost like a DM perspective of kind of like when you go to like have a villain. It's kind of like what would this villain become if the party like wasn't here, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of have that planned
Yeah.
out. I almost have the exact opposite when it comes to my characters. I don't think I sit down and like this would be like I have no idea where they're gonna go. I definitely like sit down when I write my backstory. It's like okay, I think of it very much as a prologue, and then like chapter 1 is kind of like sitting around the table with the party. So I usually love having those moments of like, man, what would my character like? I almost let the story and the adventure shape what the epilogue is going to be because I typically have no idea what that's going to be. So that's kind of fun to see it. I mean, I'll have ideas, I'm sure, but like with Dara, I kind of did not have any type of idea of what would happen to him. And Ansel for the last one with Rise of the Rune Lords, like his whole thing was kind of like finding a purpose, and we all know that kind of turned out to be down a dark way. But
so with both of my long-term campaign characters that I've done, both of them just had like the absolute worst thing happen to them right before the campaign started. Like I said, Cal with the overdose. With KO in the last campaign, he literally got his brother killed on accident, but very directly through things that he did. And had to run away from home for fear of his family like excommunicating and not being able to face them. Like and it was like weeks later when the game started. Like it just happened.
That's
so
pretty great.
That was really fun too.
Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with me. Would love to hear down in the comments, what are some characteristics that you love to go to when you go to make a character for this wonderful game? Let us know.
Even just the patterns you find yourself falling back into, because those aren't bad things. It's fine sometimes, you know.
Yeah, if you are the button pusher, it's great. We all need those around the table.
Go pushing buttons.
Well, on that note, Kurtis, do you want to jump into your side of the story?
I would love to, Jacob. On that note, I called you Jacob.
You did. You call me Jacob from time to time.
Let's jump back into the city of Corvosa, down into the depths of the bowels of the city, as our adventuring party here, the Trouble Seekers, now is on their way down into the sewers of the city in order to deal with a little rat problem.
Yes, because there was like an old wererat lady that came and talked to you because apparently one of her clan people got brutally
an old wererat lady who I apparently thought was a cute little girl. But that was wrong. I was wrong. Old rat lady called Iris Yellow Eyes because she literally has jaundice, and her eyes are yellow. And I just ignored that completely because Dip said she was mousy and had a little tick, and the way he talked was kind of like, anyway, I just, and I was like,
oh,
she's so cute. So anyway,
Cal saw what he wanted to see. That's how strong his mental intelligence is.
His acuity, yeah. We were told of this rogue group of were-rats who are inciting a war against the surface people because one of the were-rat folk was lynched by some of the poor folk in the city because they are blaming the were-rats for the disease and the spread thereof. So we head to this sewer entrance. Couple quick little things. I want to just make sure. Ears, yellow eyes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, and it's very interesting how much this campaign likes to set people up for ostracization, I guess, with you rescuing the lady, being saved by these Zorro fellow, and then now you're going to go rescue some wererats.
It's like every other day,
something like that.
Every other day, the city is picking something else to blame, and just, it's literal like mob mentality run amok in the city. So we're heading there. We also spoke to Cressida Croft through message.
That's right. Well, hold on.
What?
Did you left a note for Cressida Croft?
No, that's later.
Correct?
That's later.
Is that later?
That's later.
Oh, okay. I just remembered that just popped in my head, and I was like, oh, snap. Okay, well,
we're gonna get there today. We messaged Cressida Croft before we headed out to this. Was like, hey, come have dinner with us tomorrow night. Also, we're gonna do this, and then she messaged us back and was like, cool, sounds great. Yeah. Also, if you have time, she said, try and go take a look at a place called Lavander's Liniments. Because they claim to have a magical liniment cure for Bloodveil.
Interesting. Oh my.
So, we have been given another quick errand to run. But we decide to head to the sewers first. We go to the sewer entrance, head down into the grimy depths, and start exploring, and are quickly met with a wererat folk in full transformation.
Oh man!
We
now, are
essentially
they small creatures, or are they kind of medium?
No, they're regular humanoids. I mean, they're usually kind of short, but they're not like small. They're regular medium humanoids.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, if you were a halfling or a gnome, you could be small.
Oh, true. I was just curious, like, because it's a rat, do they shrink inside? Yeah.
No, they don't. They can't like fully turn into a rat. Like some werewolves like fully turn into a wolf.
Okay.
Or maybe they can actually.
That'd be interesting. I don't know.
Anyway,
do you think Cal's gonna get this curse?
We'll just have to see, won't we? We get into this small little hideout that they've kind of dug into the walls of the sewer. And it's like a little tunnel that they've dug in through the side walls of the sewer. Basically, a sentry yells out, "Humans, run!" And we're like, wait. We just want to talk to Gearigs, which is the name I was trying to remember last time. Gearigs is the revolutionizer of these wererats. He's the Viva la Revolution of these wererats. And he was essentially he's essentially kind of like a warlord kind of guy. Like he hates people, and now he has an excuse to get other people to hate them too, and so he's just trying to incite fighting. So they call an alarm on us. Doesn't really work. Fight breaks out. We start fighting these wererats, and there are a lot of them. There are also a lot of like regular large rats. ROUSs, rodents of unusual size.
Oh no.
As well as a swarm of regular, just plain rats, like a swarm of rats.
Okay, so a heavy theme of rats going on here.
Yes,
Interesting.
Yes. And lots of numbers, lots of creatures, lots of enemies here. Well into rounding around a dozen enemies. So we start the fight, and as we're doing this fight, again, we've been asked by Erie's Yellow Eyes that, if possible, the only person we actually need to and should kill is Gearigs. Right. He's always been a troublemaker. He's always going to cause these issues. He's not going to turn, but the other people have just been like convinced by him to come do this.
Right. So if this latest incident, he's using it. Yeah.
So if we can try and hopefully we don't have to kill anyone but him is her thing.
Okay.
So during these rounds of combat, we're like trying our best to like buff ourselves, use non-lethal attacks. And also at the end of every one of our turns, we're like trying to like say, hey, We're only after one guy. We just want Gyrix. You don't have to get hurt. Nobody else has to get hurt.
Okay.
Just give us Gyrix. Tell us where to find him. We'll go get him, and you can just leave. You don't have to do this. So it's not really working that well. We go through the fight. We beat a few people up. We kill a couple of the regular, normal rats.
Okay.
Eventually, Cal climbs up onto this little like rock outcropping that's like right smack dab in the middle of this big area, and there's a bunch of rats over here, and they're all surrounding our barbarian tombstone.
Okay. Oh no. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Actually, that's kind of what he is. Yeah.
Cal's like, I'm tired of this, and Cal prepares burning hands. Okay, prepares burning hands. He flays out his fingers, and they start just kind of like burning like a torch in front of his face.
Okay.
And he says, basically, this is going to get ugly real fast. You don't have to do this. You don't have to die. Get out of here. And he holds his action to cast the spell, spending the spell slot.
Yeah.
To cast the spell on this area, unless they all surrender. I say they all surrender is what I say.
Okay.
Basically, through the next round of combat, like half of them do. Like 4 of them out of the like 6 or 8 that are still there surrender and book it. They just leave.
Okay. Now, were you able to do like an intimidation check? Was Dip doing that, or is this like...
Yeah, we've done like some intimidations, and then also just like at this point they had kind of seen what we can do and that we're not messing around, and they were a little easier to convince.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so like half of them left, booked it out of there, but they did not all surrender. So right before my next turn starts, I cast the flaming hands straight through our barbarian, but it's okay because I'm a evocation wizard and he has advantage on his dex saves, and if he fails he takes half, if he succeeds he takes none.
Nice. So that's a great ability. Nice.
So I burn through all these guys. They start burning really bad, but they're not really down yet, and I'm like, okay. And I do another burning hands right back to back. So
because you held it and used your reaction. Yeah.
Because I held it and used my reaction, and then on my turn did it again. So it was 2 burning hands back to back, just this dousing flamethrower that kind of like starts puttering out, and I go and restart it.
Oh no.
And it was on this, actually, hold on, I can tell you, it was on this round that I did like the most damage any of us have done at all in a single round. I think even from our last campaign.
Oh, wow.
Because I caught like 8 creatures in this double dousing single round of burning hands.
Very nice. Oh my, in a single round. Yeah.
In a single round, yes.
Right. I think I remember you texting me this. Wasn't it like was it like 93 or something?
I'm gonna see if I can check it.
Yeah, just for the audience out there, we have a party member who loves to keep track of the damage that everyone does. It's kind of a fun thing he does in his pastime as he's waiting for his turn to come up. So he keeps track of everyone's rounds of damage and things like that. So he did that last campaign and he's doing it this campaign. So
Callan did a total of 145 damage. That was for the whole combat.
Oh, nice.
In that one round, Callan did 93 damage at level 5.
What were the level of spells that you were doing?
I think I did both of them second level. I think I second leveled it.
So that's
like, an extra an extra die.
Is that 8d6? But like the idea is like because you caught so many people in this.
Yeah, that's total damage. Not damage for the spells, but that's total damage that I did. So I did 20 something damage to like 5 creatures, you know.
Right.
Or whatever. Not quite that much, but like 16 damage to like 5 creatures.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was really cool. One of my proudest moments as Cal so far, because that's literally what I'm building around, is being this crazy supernova blaster wizard, and it was really fun to see it come to fruition there. But anyway, I kill 1 or 2 of them just outright.
Okay.
Which everyone else is kind of like, dude, we're supposed to not be killing these guys. And I'm like, I have fire or I have fists. What do you want me to do?
Well, I mean,
they're hurting us pretty bad. Like,
yeah. And
it's us or them right now.
It's also not like they're not attacking you. You guys have been giving them warnings. It makes sense.
And some of them left. I'm like, I feel like we did our job. All the ones that wanted to leave left.
Yeah.
The rest of the ones that are here want to be here and are evil. So we have to kill them.
And Cal's going to be using this for his next run for king. It's going to turn into a voting system, and it's just going to be I approve this message.
Yep. So anyway, fight goes on. We defeat most of the rat folk. Our cleric is like, I'm trying to end this quick. Mm-hmm. So she runs ahead past the main big fight because she's kind of buffed herself and she feels okay. She runs ahead and just starts yelling into the cavern for Girigs to come out, like calling him out, basically.
Yeah, challenging him.
Which he does. He comes out to face her. And he looks pretty rough. He's like full rat folk, looking like what's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles master?
Oh,
Splinter.
Splinters?
Master Splinter.
Yeah, yeah. I almost said Sticks, but that's Daredevil.
Master Sticks. Yeah, no, Master Splinter. And he's got like mithril chainmail on, and he's got this really nice rapier.
Interesting.
So he's pretty well decked out.
Okay.
So, and she's like, cool. Now I can just beat you up and we're done. So she starts fighting him alone. Doesn't go great. Our cleric goes down again. She has a habit of that. But the rest of us finish off with the other rats, and our barbarian gets in there with her, and then we all join, and the fight does not last much longer after that. Once we're all there, we defeat him, we take him out. I will say this, like 85% of the rats were not killed. We did a pretty darn good job of actually saving almost all of them. I think we only actually killed 2 or 3 total.
So it's like 15% not a good job, 85% great job. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's. I think that looks great on a report card. You know.
So we loot everything, take all sorts of stuff, figure out what's going on here.
Someone gets some mithril now.
Yeah, some good chainmail armor. And then we're like, okay, well, let's find a way out of here. We go around the other direction and suddenly find ourselves face to face with another freaking Otyug, Jake. The like 4th one we've fought in this stupid campaign. For those who don't remember, Otyugs are the like refuse-eating creatures that live in the sewers and in the pits of the city. They're like these big, stocky, 3-legged creatures with tentacles.
They're very
and a
gross.
big mouth. They're gross. So find ourselves face to face with this guy again. However, what we find out, and this was a rough fight because we were already really hurt and we just ran into him.
Okay.
But in the middle of this fight, we find out that the Otyug is like trapped here because the place we came from is like a small crack in the wall. And they've trapped the Otyug here by closing the like sewer grates on either side of it.
Oh, okay.
And through the fight, we realize this thing's like starving. That's why it's attacking us so viciously. and it has nowhere to go. So we're getting our butts beat. Like, two of us are really close to just dying. And so I kind of look around and I notice that outside that grate, there's like a turning winch to open the grate. So I cast Mage Hand out there while we're fighting to start trying to turn it. And then our bard, who's small, goes, oh, okay, I can do that too. And he squeezes through the bars and goes and starts helping it. And like 2 rounds later, the grate lifts. And the Ochiag's like, sweet, I'm out. And starts running because he's hurt. But he starts running because he's caught one of us. And he's like, sweet, I got my lunch for later. Let's go. And starts running. And we're like, no, wait.
We're trying to help you.
And what ends up happening is our other wizard, Kit, uses Vortex Warp to pull them out of its grip and help them land next to us. And it just keeps running down the sewer. So we let it free.
That's dope. Hey, well done, guys.
And,
well done.
That's the end of our sewer trip.
Another great creative use of Vortex Warp. I love it.
Oh, yeah. That's such a good spell. So we finish up there and start heading back to the surface. Now, we're not under any sort of, we're not going to go find Iris and tell her it's done. She'll find out, and they'll do what needs to be done. Garrix is gone. The threat's gone. So it doesn't matter.
That makes sense.
So we're done with this. This is done. Mm-hmm. So we decide, okay, that was rough. We all stink. That was terrible. We all feel awful. Let's go wash up. So, Jake,
bath episode.
We get to have a bathhouse episode.
Yeah, our group had a beach episode. You guys get a bathhouse episode. Yes. That's so cool.
The barbarian's like, I'm out. He leaves. But the remaining 4 of us, the 2 ladies and Cal and and Squish, all head to a really nice bathhouse that's still open. They have like individual little bath spring rooms. The ladies have theirs. Good. The ladies have theirs that they share. The guys have theirs that they share. We start putting like oils and things into the tub and stuff. And it was really, really funny because eventually what this like devolved into was like panning back and forth, almost like an anime episode between like the guy's side and the girl's side. And it was like the girl's side, they're just like chatting and talking about like the other people in the party and where they came from and their hair and all this cool stuff. And then you pan over to the guy's side and it's been 10 minutes and we're smoking a blunt in the bath.
Did Squish bring this on? It's like 5 minutes in and Squish like pulls out this little.
Cal did, because if you'll remember when we were going to find Trinia, one of her roommates was this dude that was super high, and he got Squish high because Squish was like, I'll try it. And then Squish smoked one whole blunt and was like, that's great. And then was offered another by this guy because this guy's just trying to keep him there. And Cal comes running up and grabs it and is like, no, thank you, and sticks it in his pocket, and they keep going. He's had that this whole time, and so he finally takes it out now and is like, hey, we're just 2 guys hanging out. Let's pass this back and forth, and we'll have a great time in here. There's no smoke alarms in D&D, right?
Right.
So we're hanging out in there.
Oh my god!
And we're just getting super high, just chatting about everything, and then we start having side effects. Where Squish starts getting... Oh my
god, this is such an anime episode!
It's so funny. Squish starts getting super paranoid, and Cal starts getting super irritable, like aggressive.
Okay. That doesn't sound like a very good time.
And so, like, they're having a great time at first, and then suddenly Squish is like, it's kind of itchy in here. Is it itchy in here to you? And he kind of like starts looking around his shoulder and stuff. And then Cal's like, man, you know, I don't understand why Tombstone didn't want to come with us. I think that guy hates me. You know what? You know what I need to do? I need to show him who's boss. I just need to get in a fight with Tombstone and just beat him down and show him who's boss. That way he'll respect me. And Squish is like, you wouldn't beat me up though, right? And Cal's like, no, I'm talking about Tombstone. I'll beat Tombstone. Don't even think about that. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
And then we start coming down from it, and we all meet back up out, and they're like, your guys' eyes are red. And we're like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We had a great time.
It was great. It was so much fun. So we leave the bathhouse and start heading home. Decide that we're going to go to the liniment place the next day while we go out to get stuff to prepare for dinner with Trinia. So that night goes by. Next day, we all meet up again and start heading towards the liniment place, Lavander's Liniments. Now, this is regularly just a store that sells like snake oil. You know, it's like it's like the essential oils store of Corvosa. You know, like they're like, oh, it's not real potions. It's not like real alchemy or anything. It's just perfume mixed with oil, mixed with this shiny powder that makes people think it's special.
Gotcha. Okay. None of it's like more like, oh, this will help your upset stomach type of thing. It is
definitely that.
Oh,
it's definitely that.
Okay.
It's like an alchemist alternative. It's like you know, like it's natural things.
Your everyday. It's like people that can't afford a $50 like 50 gold pieces worth for a health potion.
Yes.
Can come here to help. You know, get some, Neosporin or something like that.
And they don't necessarily have a bad reputation either. It's not like it's not like they're known for selling snake oil. It's like, no, they just sell natural remedies that may or may not work, but a lot of people say they do.
Okay.
So we go, and there is a line out of this place that is like 3 blocks long.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, this is also during the plague too, right?
Yes. People from all over the city are coming to line up to get this because not only have they told people it will cure you, they've also told people that it's preventative. So if you're taking it even when you're not sick, it'll keep you from getting sick.
Okay.
So we kind of... We're like... Okay, how do we skirt this line? First of all, this is terrible. There are sick people mixing with not sick people, close quarters in a line.
Yeah, right.
Because they all want it, and they all think they're going to be healthy when they leave. Right. So who cares if I'm right next to a sick guy? I'm about to get a thing that's going to keep me from getting sick, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, how do we skirt this line? We could sneak in the back. We could try to talk our way in. And we decide, why don't we just walk up and say, we just want to look. Like, we're not here to buy anything. We just want to go look inside. We know all these people are here to buy the fancy stuff. We just want to ask some questions about it.
Right.
So that's what we do. There's like a guard there, but not like a city guard, like a regular guard, like hired muscle. Like they hired somebody to watch the door, kind of a thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we're like, we just want to go inside to look around. We're not necessarily interested in buying. We just want to know what's up. And he was like, okay. So we go inside. Start looking around. Like I said, we see like perfumes, oils, poultices, all these random little things.
Yeah.
Nothing that looks like legitimate potions. And we have Kit here, who is actually trained in like alchemist tools.
Yeah, that's what she's been doing.
Can make potions.
Yeah.
So she's got a trained eye for this kind of stuff. So we actually walk up and talk to one of the ladies who's like helping sell things. And she's like, oh no, I'm Lavander. And we're like, oh, you're the person. Okay, great. So we start asking her questions. And she basically is like, yeah, no, it's It's totally real. It's a natural mix of remedies and oils and things. And you know, if you want to know if it's real, just ask anybody who's taken it and they'll tell you it's helped. And so we do. We talked to a couple people in line and they're like, yeah, I was just here yesterday and I feel way better today. Like, look at me. I'm not red anymore. And it's like,
interesting.
Were
Okay.
you red though? Or were you just thinking you were? And you know, so it's like,
okay.
it's all
okay.
hearsay. There's no like evidence for anything.
Okay. Okay.
So we're like, can we just real quick buy like 5 bottles off you? Like, we're going to buy like 5 bottles just so we can, you know, test it. And if we like it, we'll be back and we'll tell everybody about it. And she's like, yeah, sure. So it's $1 per bottle and it's 1 dose.
Okay. So basically it gets you through a day. You'll need to come back tomorrow to get another one. It's not like...
It's so unclear, which is the thing that's like bugging Cal. It's like, does this cure you? Do you need repeated use? Like, there's people in line who say they've had it before and they're taking it. And she's like, well, yeah, that's because they know it'll keep them healthy. Like, they only need to take it once to not be sick anymore, but they're coming back because it worked and they want to stay healthy. Because the thing with this is like, people have gotten restoration done, like cured through restoration, and then they'll get sick again.
Gotcha. Yeah,
like
that's
the next
been
day.
the issue.
So
Yeah.
So you're not immune once you're over being sick. You'll get You'll get sick again, like right away. With Blood Veil. So that's the story. So we buy a bunch of these things. Our barbarian just takes one right away. And we're like, okay, cool.
All right.
And he's like, it tastes kind of flowery. It's kind of weird. And we're like, okay. We're like, do you feel anything? He's like, no, not yet. So we all go back. Something else we decided to do is grab some samples from the river near the boat to test those as well. I don't know if we did that before or not. Because I
remember you mentioning it. Yeah.
We were worried that there was something in the water.
Segment, I think. Yeah.
Anyway, we did that a while back, I think. But so anyway, we take all this back and they do some tests on them. The 2 girls do some tests on this stuff. And basically they separate it out into 3 parts. Perfume, water, and some like sweet stuff. That's it. It's literally a sugar pill that smells good.
Oh no. Oh dear. Okay. So it is doing the whole sugar pill effect type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like if human mind can be quite fascinating at times. Okay.
And so we're kind of stuck in this like, well, do they actually think they're helping? And do they actually think this is helping? And so they're just really trying to help? Or are they just taking advantage of the city being in a terrible place and getting more people sick? Because if they're doing that, they need to all go to jail, like right away. Because they're literally getting more people sick. And if they're doing it on purpose and they know this isn't actually helping, that's way worse. So we take that information and it's time for Cressida to come over for dinner.
To come for dinner. Yes.
Now, we all start getting worried because it's like 9 o'clock. She hasn't shown up yet. 9:30. She hasn't shown up yet. We've got this like, basically we made like a big like spread of like just kind of meats and cheeses and random things we could find in the house because it's really hard to get
charcuterie board.
Stuff right now.
A good charcuterie board.
Basically a charcuterie board. Finally at like 10 o'clock, she shows up and is like, sorry, rough day, lot going on. This was like the earliest I could get here.
She still hasn't slept?
Now, that's the thing. We actually talked to her about it and we kind of observed her, and it looks like she has taken a few rests, like real rests.
Hey, wonderful.
Since the last time. Like she's still going for like days on end without sleeping, but she has slept once or twice since we saw her last.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she's getting a little better. But we tell her everything we found. We tell her about the rat problem. She's like, okay, but that's not a problem anymore. That's done. And we're like, yep, you don't have to worry about it. She's like, cool, great, thanks.
Great.
She's like, I heard about the lynching. I was worried something was going to happen. Glad to hear that there's no problem there.
Wonderful.
And then we tell her about the liniment, and we're like, hey, this is totally fake. Like, this definitely isn't going to help anybody. It's nothing. And she's like, okay, well, just to be really sure, to have concrete evidence, here's what we're going to do. And she leads us outside. We walk down the road for a little while until we find like a homeless dude on the side of the road who's got a rash.
Okay.
He's sick. And she's like, hey, how'd you like to have free room and board for like 3 nights and some food? He's like, sure, that sounds great. She's like, okay, take this. I know it's not going to hurt you, but take it. And he takes one of the liniment. She's like, cool. I'm going to have some people come pick you up in a little bit, and you're going to go to the Citadel Volcanic. You're going to be watched for a couple days to see if that does anything. And while you're there, you'll have free food, free bed, and you're good to go. He's like, great. Sounds awesome. She's like, cool. Stay right here. They'll come pick you up in a bit.
We love Cressida, don't we? She's like, get it done.
Yep. So like, she believed us. The problem was just like, she's like, okay, well, that tells me that I need to have some action here. So she needs to have concrete proof that she has witnessed in order to actually go make an arrest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I know one way to
Woman
get
of action.
That ball rolling. Okay, come on with me.
So she's like, great. That's
it's like
settled.
11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, literally. She's like, that's settled. Let's go back to the house, chat about everything you found in the boat.
Okay.
So we go back. We show her the unholy symbol of Urgathoa.
Okay.
We show her the notebook that has all the weird stuff in it, and we tell her everything we found, everything we heard, everything we know about Andaeus, all that kind of stuff. She's like, oh, I've heard that name. I know about that. I know about all the stuff that... Oh, I don't know if I corrected this last time, but the place Andaeus is from is not a different continent. It's a different country on the same continent, but they're separated by like a large body of water.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not a different continent.
I think you did mention something like that, but
it's a different country.
Sense, yeah.
So we're like, she's from here. She came on this boat. By the way, that boat you shot down is the one that went missing. That's been missing for 3 years. She's like, cool. Good to know where that is. And we tell her everything. She asks questions about the boat, and like there was nobody on board. And we're like, yeah, like maybe 2 people. One of them's missing, and the other one was still on the boat when we got there. There was
dead.
No other signs of anyone being on board.
Yeah.
We told her about the sea hag. She was like, do you think that's connected? And most of us at this point were just kind of thinking like, no, it's most likely that this sea hag just kind of lived in the bay and was like, ooh, a new cool lair.
Yeah.
Because, sea hags gotta love shipwrecks, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
That's gotta be their jam.
Yeah, exactly. Could be some treasure, but also I'm just like the negative energy that could be a part of it. Yeah,
it's got to be a great place to live for a sea hag. Shipwrecks and like underwater caves are like sea hags' whole MO.
And then just waiting for adventurers to come check out the shipwreck. Like, yeah.
So we tell her everything. We tell her all of that stuff, and she kind of takes it all in stride and is like, great, okay. I'll take all this and we'll start looking into things. And something else we find out is that old Corvosa, Cal found this out last night after we got back from the baths.
Okay.
Because Cal was like, city's going kind of crazy. I want to go see what's going on in Old Corvosa because things are probably really bad there, but I just want to make sure that everything's still like running smooth as far as like Eel's End and all that kind of stuff because, that would be the last place to go under, right? So Cal starts going towards Old Corvosa and he comes to the bridge to get to Old Corvosa and sees that all of the other like little bridges besides the main city bridge that connect Old Corvosa to main Corvosa are being deconstructed and torn apart.
Okay.
And he gets to the main bridge and sees that they're starting to build walls on the main bridge.
Okay.
And he goes and talks to a guard, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" The guard's like on a smoke break or something. And he's like, "What's going on here?" And she's like, "Oh, Old Corvosa is going to be quarantined. Like the whole section of the city. Completely quarantined.
Okay.
Nobody in, nobody out." And he's like,
okay.
"Oh, so I probably can't get in tonight, huh?" And she's like, "Not unless you like live there." I was like, "All right, cool. Sounds good." I was like, "You got a smoke?" She's like, "Yep." She gives me a smoke. We smoke for a little bit, and then I leave.
Cal has a thing, doesn't he?
He's got some things. So Cal heads back after that. At this point, he's already shared it with the crew. But Cressida basically says, "Yeah, right now the only people allowed in or out of Old Corvosa are what they are calling what were they calling them?
Are these like the victims of the plague?
No.
Or?
So the only people being allowed in and out of Old Corvosa right now are people with wheelbarrows that are volunteering to go gather corpses and bring them back to the graveyard.
Ooh, okay.
Those are the only people allowed in and out because that's how bad it is. The corpses are filling the streets and they need volunteers to remove them and take them out.
Dark. Okay.
Yep. So she's like, we're like, well, we think that's probably the most likely place that Andeasin is going to be. You know, if she's got somewhere to hide, it's going to be in the place where it's hard for people to find them and that the plague is worst, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, cool, if you guys want to go look around there, that's fine. While you're there, I have something for you to do.
Okay.
She wants us to go explore a place called Racker's Alley.
Okay.
Cal knows what that is. Most everyone else didn't really know what that is. Racker's Alley, a really dark alley in Old Corvosa where it's basically infamous at this point to be known for like businesses that are fronts. And where bad deals go down and all sorts of things. It's not really an alley. It's technically a street, but because of the way the rafters are above it, it's always dark, it's always dingy, and it's kind of like backed up against a wall. So it's like this little dingy little alleyway between these businesses that are bad places, and bad stuff always goes down there. She's like, okay, we want you to go check that out because we've had some reports that some people are dumping bodies there instead of bringing them back.
Okay.
And if that's happening, we need to know why.
Interesting.
And we're like, okay. So she procures some wheelbarrows for us so that we have a cover to get in there. She's like, now...
This is a very interesting little quest.
She's like, now, if you're doing this, you do have to actually bring some bodies back because otherwise you'll get caught on your way back out as being like deserters or whatever.
Like, actually help us out a little bit. Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, for sure, we'll do that. She's like, okay, well, let me know what you find, and we will get it figured out, and we'll find out what's going on. Okay. So we finish the evening with her. It's really late. It's like 1 a.m., and she's still there, and she looks exhausted, and we're like, Cressida, just sleep here. Just stay here. Yeah. You'll be fine. You know, nobody really knows you're here that doesn't want to know you're here. And it'll be fine. You can hang out with us. Everything will be good.
Okay.
And she's like, and we actually rolled a check, I think, here to convince her. And she's like, fine, you're right. I should just stay here. I don't need to walk back alone right now. City's crazy. I'll stay here tonight. And she goes to sleep there tonight.
That's great.
Like, yes,
that's great.
Finally,
now you have like witness.
We're actually
that
causing
she has
Cressida to rest.
That's the real side quest of this campaign.
Exactly. So we get her in, and she's like, fine, whatever. We set up a place for her on the ground, and she, starts taking her armor off, chills out, just plops down right there, and literally Dip says she like plops down face down, and she's just out instantly. Yeah. So Cal's
exhausted.
Cal's like, I wear heavy armor too. I'll help you take your armor off, all that kind of stuff. Just help her get out of it easier. Trying and failing to flirt, as I said before.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Helps her out of her armor. All that stuff. She passes out. We all go to bed. But before Cal goes to sleep, he writes a note.
Okay. Are you gonna spill the beans on the podcast?
Spill the beans.
What's on the note? Yes.
He writes a note.
I'm gonna have some music kind of start fading up right here as Kurtis leans into the microphone to really give us a voiceover of this note.
He's trying so hard to, get this lady to relax, and also, he's feeling it. Okay, so
yeah, blow off a little steam. Yeah.
His note says, Ms. Croft, we earnestly appreciate the friendship and sincerity you have shown our little band, especially the trust you've placed in us. I hope we live up to it. However, seeing the side of you reserved for relaxation and fun was indeed a treat. I was beginning to grow worried you did not have such a side to you. I am glad to be proven wrong and hope to continue to be wrong in the future. Also, and forgive me if this is far too forward, but that is my way. If you need further help relaxing in the future, or just some more help removing your armor, call on me if you need anything. Always at your service, Callan Kestrel.
Beautiful.
That was his note. So he writes that after she passes
Music
out,
fade out.
Folds it up real nice, sticks it in her pack, and goes to bed. And that's that. She leaves real early in the morning, so not a lot of goodbyes. But the next morning we find some wheelbarrows waiting for us, and we get ready to head to Old Corvosa.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to have to figure out what's going to go on with this note as soon as she sees it, I guess.
Up till now, and we are a little behind, even up till now, I do not know if anything has come from that note yet or not. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kurtis, for telling me that little tale. I think that's, I don't know, is that a great place to leave off right there? Does
great place to leave off. Next stop, we're heading to Old Corvosa, into the heart of the most sickness-racked portion of the city, into a quarantine that is being enforced by gray maidens. So we're going to run into a lot of those.
The Queen's Guard.
The Queen's Guard, like the ladies with the crazy cool red armor.
Yeah, very cool armor.
We're going to run into a bunch of those and figure out what's going on with these dead bodies and see if there's any leads in Old Corvosa.
Okay. Well, I, for one, am very much looking forward to that.
It starts, I'm going to say, we've had a couple of like plateaus and then like, whoa, that was crazy. Whoa, that was crazy. This is where, again, we've been on this kind of like, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? This is another part where it's like, oh. So we're getting into a crazy little bit here. It's going to be fun.
Okay. There's a nice little moment with Cressida, and now we're going to go, whoa. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm very excited. I can't wait. Thank you so much for watching and / listening, everyone. A little teaser for Reign of Winter. I mean, we're going to be getting to some creepy crows that are the lair seers that are going to be giving us roundabout riddle clues on what's going to be the next of our step. So that's going to be a little bit for next time. What's been going on in our side of the story. However, we need a secret comment, Kurtis.
Why don't you come up with it this time?
You want me to come up with it?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say a good secret word would be snake oil. That's 2 words.
Snake oil still counts.
Snake oil.
Snake oil.
Okay.
That's a good summation of this whole section. That's great.
Thank you all again so much for listening. We have been the Backyard Tabletop. I have been Jake.
I've been Kurtis.
I think I've come to this conclusion that I'm going to say Jacob at the beginning and Jake at the end. So it's like
great.
We'll see you all next time.
Well,
Goodbye.
bye.